Beautiful, isn't it? But surreal how quickly things changed over the last 10 to 14 days. Extraordinary. You will notice that we are at a distance. That's the first thing to make plain. Wherever you're watching in the world, listen, there are people more up to speed with knowledge than either of us about what should be done. But for those watching in Qatar, social distancing absolutely critical going forward. And then we're in the lap of God, really. It's science that we're listening to, but over the next 20-30 minutes, maybe us, because although life has been put on hold, it hasn't stopped.
No.
And there are things, Andy, I think that we need to discuss. One of them being how there is a movement. And it's gaining momentum to try to get the season finished, but I don't know how. Yes, if we can, that's the best option. But I don't see it. Do you?
It's a really tough one, Richard, because this is not a decision I don't think that the football authorities want to make, are keen to make, are in any hurry to make. I think it's a decision. I agree with you. I think in a perfect world, and we now know after the past few months, it's far from perfect anymore. It's where we're living is a vastly different place from January the 1st this year, when we all woke up to 2020 with optimism about a great year ahead. It's far from that. But I do think that in the perfect world, to get, and I mean not just the English league, if we can get every league finished, that would be their aim, of UEFA, of FIFA, of everybody. But as the days go on, and I was one of those advocates that would say delay it as we can, delay it. If we have to play behind closed doors, let's do it. Let's get the season finished. Let's get trophies presented. In the grand scheme of things, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter.
No, I those that have read the blog that I published last week were very quickly on my case. But listen, Andy, I'm speaking as somebody whose football team, for the first time in 20 years, is on the precipice of some success, giving commentary.
So what would you do then? What would you do? I'm giving you the authority.
My firm belief is that we have to reset the clock, and I have not moved from.
So season gone.
Season gone.
Gone. Nothing. No promotion.
Nothing.
No relegation. No trophies.
Nothing. It's going to take a concerted effort by Europe, by Alexander Ceferin specifically, to stop. I think as the days and the weeks pass now, it becomes less and less significant, less and less important. I don't think we can stop and hand the trophy to Liverpool. And this is not an anti-Liverpool thing.
Well, let me
for a
tell you,
minute.
kids, I'll just interject here because I was reading Glenn Johnson. I follow a bit that Glenn does, ex-Liverpool player. So he obviously has got Liverpool's thoughts in his mind. Glenn is one of the few I've read who said, if the season is declared null and void, Liverpool should not be awarded the Premier League title. Now that comes from an ex-Liverpool player.
Can't be, in my view, can't be.
Glenn agrees with you.
Because they're not over the line. I know they're close, but they're not over the line. If we gave Liverpool the trophy and said, you are the champions, what do we do with Sheffield United, who have got a game in hand, and if they win it, go fifth?
What do we do about the Championship?
Well,
who comes up to the...
We can't, because the two teams leading the Championship are not up.
No.
They can both still be caught. There is a playoff place that involves teams all the way down to Blackburn, I think, who are 10th right now. I don't see it as a possibility. Go further down. Like I said, my team, Coventry, top of League One.
You'd be okay with the chance, and you may not get it next year. If the season is declared null and void, you might not get another chance like you've got.
I understand.
So you're happy to throw it away.
I understand.
For the greater good of the game.
Yes. For look, go down to the National League. Barrow are top. Barrow haven't been a league club since almost time began.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Harrogate, where chairman is dad and manager is son. Harrogate are sitting in second place. Solihull Moors, Tim Flower's team, who came so close last year, they're on the brink of being back amongst the playoff places again. There are so many people. See, it's not ideal, The best case is to try to finish it. But how can you finish it when now players are reporting frustration, bordering on clinical depression, which is a factor. We can't dismiss that is a factor.
No.
We can stop at the same time, but I don't understand how we can all start again at the same time with integrity, because players will be behind the curve in terms of fitness, in terms of what they've been able to do during this period of time. We get to June 30 and there are 70 Premier League players out of contract.
Yeah.
Now, I know what Willian said. I'm happy to stay and play on. Sorry, if I'm signing you, son.
You're not staying.
No, you're not.
But who makes that decision then to call it null and void? Is it just simply, are the authorities in your mind? Because you're up to tune with this, and I'm glad I can ask you some questions for a change, because you, the journalist in you is what this is about.
Well, I've done nothing else like everybody else, but I've done nothing else, Andy, for...
So, what, do you think Premier League, La Liga, Serie A...
Reset.
Are these big leagues, Bundesliga, are they waiting on government saying to them, no?
That would be my view. I think the only way out of this mess for those the collectives as a league, individuals that make the decisions for those, Richard Masters at the Premier League, the only way to ensure there isn't litigation is if this comes from the top.
There you go.
Now, that would be my view, that they are waiting. Yesterday Boris Johnson's talking about the UK beating coronavirus, getting on top of coronavirus within 12 weeks. Well, that takes us past April the 30th by some distance. And we're supposed to start again. When I say reset, I mean completely, which is we go back to the start of last August, which means that all the teams that were then in the Europa League and the Champions League will have mini leagues to settle that competition. No, that's not how it works.
So let me get this.
Reset and start again.
So let me say it right. So what that means in layman's terms, right? That means you're saying at the beginning of 2020, 2021, in August,
yes,
that the 4 teams that finished in the top 4 last season,
yes,
will be our Champions League competitors.
Absolutely.
The top 5th and 6th will be Europe. 3 that finished in the bottom 3 would go.
We don't need to worry about that. They've gone. We've got teams back in.
Okay, well, right away, I can see Brendan Rodgers and Leicester rearing up. I
understand that too.
I can see so much of that happening.
But we have to lay as football is arguably the most selfish industry I can think of. We have to lay aside all that we want for ourselves for the greater good of everybody else. And I'm speaking again, I refer back to the fact that, and I'm pleased they're top. My team are top of League One. And I'm saying reset. I'm saying reset because it is, for me, the only fair and sensible way to move forward. If we run a season, we'll run until we conclude the season. When? October? November? When do we start the next season?
Somebody mentioned October today.
Well, when do we start the next season?
In November.
Oh, you were talking about overplaying players.
Yeah.
Oh, they'll all have had a rest. No, they won't be at the same fitness levels as they were in order to maybe continue at that time.
So is this a situation where, and I'm not going to use the word that I was going to, because it's too strong a word to use when there are genuine ones out there all over the world, that...
You're going to say disaster.
No.
Never use the word disaster with football.
No, I'm not.
Ever.
I wasn't going to use disaster.
It's not that important.
No, I wasn't going to use disaster. I was going to use another word. But what I was going to say, Richard, is, so whatever happens, whatever decision is made, not everyone will be happy. And if you're one of the minority, because it will be a minority, if you're one of the minority that's unhappy, what you're saying is you're just going to have to suck it up for a year and get on with it.
Yes, that would be my view. And by the way, I'm no buying, no selling, no movement.
This summer, you're going to have to.
There will be the 70 that are out of contract that we need to think seriously about. But Liverpool deserve this title. I believe, I don't know I refer to you on Football Matters, I believe Liverpool will go on and win it next year. Now, we don't know.
No, we don't know that.
But the chances are they've been so good this year, they're likely to be next.
They might be.
Aren't they?
No, as I always refer to you when I talk about the championship race, will they be, we were told about a 10-year domination from Manchester City?
Yes.
I said to you, no. I don't see it. They'll be up there, but they will not do it. I go back to this season. Although Liverpool are miles ahead, Richard, and I hope a few Liverpool fans do agree with me, I actually think they played better last year. They played better football last year. That's what I think. I think what they've done this year is they've been brilliant professionally. They've got over the line. Their back four and goalkeeper have been sensational. Right? Oh, sorry, I was getting a bit close. I know, right.
It's getting a bit heated.
You're back. They have got over the line. There's a lot of things gone their way this year.
Yes,
right?
yes.
That probably won't next year. They might lose one or two players in the summer. We don't know. Will Van Dijk be as dominant as he has been? Will the front three still possess that threat and all that? They might not. They might not. Will the fullbacks be as adventurous? And will they get away with it? Now that teams are going to say, well, hold on, we've got to stop these two first and foremost before we stop the front three. So there are so many things that will come into next season I think will not make Liverpool anywhere near as dominant as they have been this season. Plus, I think the others, like every season, the ones chasing, know where the bar is, and they've got to get up there. But, as you say, if in the summer there are no transfers and nobody's moving clubs, then I don't know.
It just strikes me as being the best and most sensible option in order that we can restart as scheduled in August, which at the moment we are, or we have a date in the diary when that was supposed to happen. And if not, we can all collectively move back together.
Do you understand the Liverpool fans right now will be crying foul?
Of course.
You're talking rubbish, Keys. Gray, you're talking rubbish.
Of course
how can you say to a team that's 25 points ahead and only probably needs to win 2 more games that you can't give them a title?
But
you understand all that?
I understand all that, and I
sympathy with it?
Of course. And having worked, and I always, the young generation of Liverpool fans have no idea the amount of time that I spent on Merseyside. You played, you understand the area. I spent 4 years of my formative life in Liverpool. I've got lifelong friends as a result of my time in Liverpool. I get it. It shouldn't have been 30 years to this point, but as a collective, we have to look at it in the round and not just what suits Liverpool. They haven't won it. What if COVID-20 comes down the line?
Oh, cheers. You've really cheered me up now.
But what if?
Yeah.
We didn't think 4 weeks ago, 6 weeks ago, we'd be in this situation.
I agree. There have been massive leads and league titles all over the world that have been narrowed down and eroded
By the
away.
way, sorry, I don't want to get you... this might... Celtic shouldn't win in Scotland either.
No, well, if what I'm saying is, if this is a directive from FIFA, then no championship that's unfinished, should be declared finished.
Absolutely.
Well, even Scotland is even closer. It's close. It's not as close as it might be, as it should be, but it's too close to call still.
You have to then step away and say, hand Liverpool the title now. They will forever have an asterisk alongside this season, the title they didn't actually win. And that's what football will say.
What if I say to you then, is it just football? I'm just throwing other sports in, right, as we're talking about this. What if the Masters or the Open Championship, I better call it the British Open so I don't get accused of. What about if the Masters or the British Open was truncated and after 3 days, inclement weather did not allow them to finish the tournament? They would declare the winner after 3 days, the winner of the British Open and the winner of the Masters.
They probably would.
I think they would.
And
is
it's
football
a very
that different?
Yes, that's a tournament. Football has been that's almost a sprint.
Right.
That's almost.
And I guess it doesn't have relegation.
There are no other consequences. No, there's no ideal outcome. There is no ideal outcome. It's looking for the best that is going to be for the majority. I mean, on another subject, you look beyond the Premier League. 71 other football clubs. Do you know how many of them made a profit last year?
71, maybe 71 if you're in a championship. 15?
18. 18 of 71 clubs. So right now, your maths are better than mine.
Okay.
We've got how many? 50?
What do you mean?
Teetering on the brink.
18 of...
Take 18 from 71.
That leaves 53.
There you go. So you've got 53 football clubs. can we sustain a pyramid where at the bottom there is so much rot?
Well, something I've talked about many times in our previous life. I remember thinking about it. It's always amazed me, Richard, right? First and foremost. And we might end up coming from different ways here as to what the solution is. But I've always been amazed that a country the size of England, and we're talking about England, okay, forget Bury, they've gone, but 91.
There's a boat on the water.
Oh, at last. At last.
Nice to see.
It is nice to see.
Stay safe,
yes,
and stay at a distance. That would be my advice.
How a country the size of England could sustain, and it's more than 91, but 91 full-time professional clubs in the league pyramid. When you go to the Nationwide League, I think there's still some full-time clubs in there as well, isn't there?
If you go to the national, go further down the National League. Yes,
you get so there's close to 100 full-time professional clubs in England. Look at the size of it. How I would agree that sustaining that is wrong, and it should be looked at. But I think what are you saying? I'm suggesting part-time football. I'm thinking you are suggesting maybe losing even more clubs.
I think now is an opportunity to have a really good close look at what it is we're trying to achieve.
Almost have a
Again, I'll use my club as an example, Coventry City. The owners of Coventry, CISU, a venture capitalist group, have twice taken the club out of the city in the last decade. Twice.
Yeah.
We play in front of 5,000-6,000 fans now at St Andrews. What Mark Robbins has done there is extraordinary. But CISU are in this to make money.
Aren't they all?
Well, the old adage used to be, how do you make a small fortune out of football? And of course, the answer was start with a big one. That's not the case anymore.
No.
Everybody is exposing themselves to the sort of danger that 53 football clubs are in now, because they believe that if they chase the Holy Grail, everything's going to be okay. And Sheffield United are the most recent and best example of a team that did. But McCabe is a Sheffield man. He's a Sheffield United fan. Peter Coates and Stoke, okay, it's gone wrong. But CISU are not in this for the benefit of Coventry, the community, the club. They're in this to make money for themselves. And more as I look around the pyramid, I see that formula. And I don't...
What are you suggesting?
I'm suggesting that, as again harsh as it is, we maybe need to look at how sustainable that pyramid is going forward from this place. We may have to lose some football clubs.
Wow.
Now, I look at Andy Holt at Altrincham, the owner there.
Yeah.
He's not scared.
No.
His club went bust in 1962. They resigned from the Football League, left to Alan Hardacre. We're out. They know what it's like, and then to rebuild and start again. Wimbledon, who came all the way back from... how long can we go on like this? I don't know what the answer is.
No, I don't.
But I don't think it's sustainable.
Is the answer too simplistic to say, for me to say? It's almost like turning the clock back 40 years and saying, well, these clubs, for instance, what's the Hartlepool, should not be travelling the length and breadth of England to play who? Exeter?
Yeah.
Somebody down there.
Yeah.
Ridiculous. Is there a case
when they were a league club, of course.
Yeah, of course. Yes, when they were a league club. We knew that. We're just testing you. No, but what I'm trying to say is there then a case then to make life easier financially for these clubs that there should be a north and south divide in the lower leagues in divisions 2 and 3?
I think it's a really good opportunity to have a look at things like that. Because I think what we've got is a system that was fit for purpose when the likes of Bob Lord ran Burnley and you remember Paul Fletcher and Dobbo and Jeff Nelty and all these, that wonderful era when they were 5th and 6th in the old First Division, when owners of that type cared about their club. And Burnley's much the same these days. It's still in the ownership of the...
Well, I came to England to a club where a man loved it, Doug Ellis.
Absolutely.
He devoted his life to one club.
Absolutely.
I know he went to a couple of others, but he was...
So do we now take this opportunity to say, we've got to look at this. We've been placed in a situation whereby once again we need to think differently, because I just don't see it. And you ask the Premier League clubs, are you prepared to dip into your pockets now to keep these boys afloat?
I don't see it.
The answer is no.
Well, Bury's the answer.
Bury is the answer.
There's a club. There's this year or the
This
end
year.
of last year?
This year. Well,
This year.
this season.
This season, who have got in terrible financial case, would have cost nothing to keep them going for a while. But I guess
Well, that
answer-
for me. Sorry,
what the-
that for me was when I saw the £50 million pot that the EFL
Yeah.
had made available, and I'm thinking to myself, well, why didn't they dip into that when Bury were in real trouble?
Yeah.
I know the answer is, well, how many more would? We now know 53.
Yeah.
But here we go, round and round in a circle. The point
No,
where
I
you
think-
cut it off
I
and say
think
no.
Where we are, it seems to me where we are now, football, when it starts, and I say when, not if, but
And it will.
when it kicks back in again, might become a game that we don't recognise for a while because of the changes it might throw us into. But I just think, Richard, you've been in the game as long as I have, and I just think, having been in this game for as long as I have, the one thing that the Premier League's given us lots of brilliant things.
Wonderful.
Amazingly brilliant
Wonderful.
things. But it's also given us greed.
Yes.
Huge greed. Huge amount of it. Selflessness. It's about my club. Not just but my money. How much money can I make? How much money can we generate? How many fans can we get in? How many beginning of the season tours can we go in that will be hugely lucrative for our club? What about an end of season tour that's going to pay us millions as well? All these things. It's all about money.
And you know the allegation, and it is credible, it stands, is that you and I were part of that, along with a whole host of other people, but that we started that. And
No, we only reported on it. We only worked in it.
Well,
we didn't encourage players to be, clubs to be greedy.
no, but we were part of the creation of. I always have this conversation with you now. It's
No.
funny. Football did not, of course, start in 1992.
No, it
if it
didn't.
did, you were never a player.
No.
But we took that decision.
No,
To
you and the
reset the-
powers that be took that decision. I would like to state quite categorically here, I had nothing to do with that
In fact, as I
decision.
talk, that's the best example I can think of resetting the clock. We did.
1992.
We did.
Yes.
And this whole industry has been spawned as a result of what we did.
Yeah.
We were right. Football, go back to an era when there was no live football. I remember working at the start of a season when there was a dispute between broadcasters and the Football League. And there was no televised
football.
football, no
No,
highlights.
I remember
The only
it.
place you could see goals, we did it at TVAM. Lee Walker was then at the Football League, and I managed to persuade him to give me 10 goals on a monthly basis. And we had a goal of the month competition. And it was the only place you could see
Yeah, I
football.
remember that.
But we gave football a shop window.
Yeah.
Now, whether what's happened is and has been for the good of all, or maybe a minority, I don't know.
Are you an advocate of where for every boom there's bust?
I
Because
keep thinking
if we think that, then this product that we love so much, I hate to say this. Why am I
it's
saying
a
it?
product.
No, it's a sport.
It's a product now.
It's all a sport. It's a sport to me. That this sport that I've grown up with and love is heading for bust, not bust, but a big dip.
From 10 years in, I thought the next deal was going to be.
The
I remember
last.
having conversations with Richard Schoonemore about this. We played golf one day and did get out now because the next one's not. Now maybe Richard eventually did get out at the right time because I can't but help think about him on a daily basis at the moment.
He'll be quite happy.
The world he left
Aye.
was entirely different to the one
He'll be
Richard
quite-
Masters
he'll be quite happy.
has inherited. At the third time of asking, by the way, two
Mm.
chief execs
Turned it down.
didn't get out the traps, did they? So I have sympathy for him, and I have for all those that have got to make big decisions now to take us all the way back to where we started. But I don't see unless we get together as a collective. I don't see an outcome that's going to be acceptable. If we finish our season and the Spanish don't, how does that work? If somehow we finish our season, how does it work if we're still playing in October? And in Italy and Spain, they've reset the clocks and they've started the Champions League again in September. There
I don't know.
are so many different layers to this. That the best thing surely is to say, done, start again.
Every
We all
season.
start in August,
Wow, it's a big call.
and then you can.
Yeah, it's a big call. And as you say, there'll be no clubs, certainly not every club in the world, in Europe, will come out of this unscathed.
Can't.
Some will be damaged. Some may be permanently damaged. Some may go. I agree with you. I worry about English Premier League clubs. Not the Premier League clubs, the EFL clubs. The ones in the Championship, First and Second Division. If I'm worried about them, how am I going to feel about the National League? How's that going to survive without football.
And it's a buoyant league. It's a good league. And by the way, I've enjoyed my Championship football this year because it's been pure.
That's pure.
There's been I nearly got through half an hour and didn't mention it. There's been no VAR. It's a great product.
I know.
It's a great product, and there's some really vibrant teams down in the National League. The further down you go, which is the counter argument to how far do we go to protecting them?
Exactly.
So I understand that as well. But I do think this is an opportunity for everybody to lay aside their initial instinct, which is, I'm all right, Jack.
Mm-hmm. Stuff that though.
And never mind the rest of you.
Stuff that.
And that's why if we don't finish, Liverpool cannot be given this title because they have not won it.
There speaks Richard Keys.
So we're going to try and meet as long as that is possible going forward, but we are fully aware of the need to socially distance. There's an absolute necessity for that now. I said when we started, wherever you are in the world, be careful, but particularly here in Qatar. This is just so beautiful, strangely quiet and understandably so, but be responsible, please, because that more than anything else is what matters here right now. But on behalf of Andy and myself and everybody at beIN Sports, just look after yourselves.
Can I just add as well, Richard? Just make sure, it's not easy. We've been doing it, all of us here at beIN Sports. Stay at home, if at all possible. Only be going out there if you really, really need to right now, because it's hugely important that we do that. Don't be getting mixed up in crowds and crowd scenes. Keep your visitors to a minimum, and none if you can. But most importantly, stay safe.
This affects everybody, and the only way to beat it is with a collective effort. So I reiterate what my colleague said, stay safe. We'll join you as and when we can. Looking forward to it because
I like a chat.
Stirred a few thoughts.